Hello, I'm Leela Oldenburg, a transportation training instructor from Fairfax County Public Schools Office of Transportation. In this lesson, we will be discussing passenger conduct. As professional bus drivers and attendants, we deal with many passengers with a wide range of different personalities on a daily basis. Student conduct is one of the biggest challenges we face. The daily ride to and from school can be an important part of a student's progress towards independence and educational achievement. Promoting good behavior is a necessary and important part of the operation of a school bus, as all students must behave appropriately. Clearly understood and well-enforced rules are necessary for successful management of the students we transport. The driver and the attendant play an important role in influencing the behavior patterns of students on the bus. When managing behavior, keep in mind the students are not adults. It is important to remember that the driver and the attendant are responsible for the behavior of the students while riding the bus. Remember the following points. Be fair. Treat students in the same way you want to be treated by others. Be friendly. Speak to the students as they board and exit the bus. Be consistent. Try to keep things the same. Be the same person every day. Be clean. Keep your appearance and keep the bus clean. Be timely. Make sure you take care of issues in a timely manner. Don't wait a week to follow up. Humor. It's important to have a good sense of humor when dealing with children of all ages. Respect. If you respect the students, they will respect you. Punctuality. You can't expect the students to be at the bus stop on time if you are there at a different time every day. Attitude. Discipline should not be a function of your mood or energy level. In other words, professionals are consistent even when they do not feel like it. Establish rules. Explain rules and the reasons behind them. The students on your bus should follow and be familiar with Fairfax County's rules for behavior. The students will expect you to set an example for them. The kind of example you give the students will determine many of their responses towards you. Explain the rules, plus their reasons. The driver cannot operate the bus safely while stopping frequently to discipline students. Review the rules after long breaks or when problems arise. By establishing rules early, you start building a professional and personal relationship with your students. Healthy relationships are a vital component of our health and well-being. Building positive relationships creates a positive impact in our lives. Respect is probably the single most important tool for building personal relationships. As adults, when we make mistakes, we should admit it. When students feel respected, it enhances their self-respect and their feelings of respect for others. Just listening to a student's stories may gain their confidence and trust. Consistency plays a big role in fairness. Don't play favorites. A driver that overlooks the poor behavior of one student but disciplines another student for the same behavior is an example of not showing fairness. When a good relationship is established, students will often accept discipline without resentment and will understand your concern for their safety. Some ways that you can establish a good relationship with students is by addressing students by name, if possible, at the door or with a simple good morning or goodbye. Be consistent with rules, as mentioned previously. Thanking students for doing the right thing by following the rules or helping their peers. Show interest in the student's achievement and activities. Showing you care helps develop trust. Establishing rules and building positive relationships with the students helps minimize misbehavior that will occur on the bus. Students on your bus will misbehave. That's a given. Misbehavior may range from small, annoying disturbances to those that are life-threatening. Some examples include ignoring the bus driver or attendant, taking items that do not belong to them, spitting, screaming, and yelling, not staying seated while the bus is in motion, having head or limbs out the bus window, touching others inappropriately, bullying and aggression towards others. When a misbehavior arises, you must follow through with appropriate consequences and discipline. All right, some key facts about discipline. It is not the action you take, it is how you take the action. Consequences will be a natural outcome that is more closely related to the behavior and is delivered consistently. It is the consistent implementation of consequences that produces long-term behavior change in children. Consequences teach students that they have the power of choices. It is not the severity of the consequence that has the impact, it is the certainty. Anger is not helpful in a discipline situation. Sincere compassion is much more effective than anger. When the student hears compassion instead of anger, he or she is more likely to look at their behavior and notice the connection between his or her choice and the consequence. By establishing and reinforcing rules and discipline, building positive relationships, and putting in place consequences, students will likely establish respect and compliance. Fairness and respect play a key role in how students respond to the driver and attendant. Your primary concern is the safe transport of students to and from school. When rules are overlooked, they become increasingly difficult to enforce later. You are the authority figure on the bus. You cannot overlook or ignore misbehavior. It could send a message that the misbehavior is not a problem and is acceptable. To avoid escalations of misbehavior, you should know how to stop the misbehavior. Do not let students make the rules. Do not be afraid of the students, and do not feel upset and overwhelmed. Assertive drivers and attendants know how to deal effectively with students. When you follow the guidelines that have been discussed so far in this presentation, it will help you effectively manage the students on the bus and focus on safety. Say what you mean what you say. Clearly and firmly state expectations in a normal tone of voice. Have a plan when students misbehave and praise or compliment students who behave. Sometimes our emotions get the better of us and we take it out on the students. Do not get angry and yell at the students or call them names. Do not threaten students with violence or make empty threats. If a situation arises that compromises safety, pull the bus over in a safe location and handle the matter without anger or emotion. Never use physical force as a consequence of misbehavior. Using force may cause harm to the student, the driver, or the attendant. You can be sued and charged with a felony. It is against the law, FCPS policy, and you could be fired. Physical force or contact may only be used when separating or breaking up a fight, in self-defense, or assisting or controlling a special needs student. Drivers and attendants should not block the aisle with their arm or body or physically restrain the student from leaving the bus. Never put yourself in a situation where you have to touch a child when anger is present or in any way that can be questionable. If a student insists on getting off the bus, let them off and then call your office to report the problem. Look for other options. Get help, remove the audience, stop the bus, and use the radio. A bus incident report is a valuable tool for bus drivers and attendants to document any form of misbehavior. We often fail to realize that students are in periods of physical and emotional development with all the problems associated with exploration and adjustment. They require guidance and understanding. Clearly understood and well-enforced rules are necessary for successful behavior management of students who ride the bus. Many of your students will look upon you as a role model. Take pride in your appearance and remember that you may be the first person the student sees in the morning and the last person they see in the afternoon. Keep in mind that what happens on the bus in the morning can set the tone for the entire school day. During this presentation, we discussed what misbehavior is and how to manage it. We also discussed how to promote good behavior and build positive relationships with the students. We explained why appropriate consequences and discipline are important in managing misbehavior. There are no bad children, just bad behaviors. Separate the behavior from the child. They can be a joy and a constant form of entertainment. Let's take a moment to review what we've learned. Number 1, students are allowed to act however they want on the school bus. False. Promoting good behavior is a necessary and important part of the operation of a school bus, as all students must behave appropriately. Number 2, it is important to be friendly, fair, and consistent when managing behavior on the bus. True. When managing behavior, keep in mind the students are not adults. It is important to remember that the driver and attendant are responsible for the behavior of the students while riding the bus. Number 3, after a long break, it is not necessary to review the bus rules with the students. False. Review rules after long breaks or when problems arise. 4, greeting students as they board the bus is important in building positive relationships with students. True. When a good relationship is established, students will often accept discipline without resentment and will understand your concern for their safety. Address students by name if possible at the door or with a simple good morning or goodbye. Number 5, it is acceptable for students to move to another seat when the bus is in motion. False. Some examples of misbehavior include spitting, screaming and yelling, not staying seated while the bus is in motion, having head or limbs out the window, touching others inappropriately, and bullying. These behaviors are not allowed. Number 6, when you are dealing with a misbehavior on the bus, it is acceptable to yell and scream at the students. False. Sometimes our emotions get the better of us and we take it out on the students. Do not get angry and yell at the students or call them names. Pull the bus over and handle the matter without anger. Number 7, one of the biggest challenges drivers face is dealing with student conduct. True. We deal with many passengers with a wide range of different personalities on a daily basis. Number 8, if a student is trying to get off the bus at an unauthorized stop, you should try and keep them from getting off the bus by blocking the aisle with your arm or body. False. If a student insists on getting off the bus, let them off and then call your office to report the problem. Drivers should never block the aisle with their arm or body or physically restrain the student from leaving the bus. Number 9, students will show you respect if you have a bad attitude towards them every day. False. When students feel respected, it enhances their self-respect and their feelings of respect for others. If you respect the students, they will respect you. Number 10, what happens on the bus sets the tone for the student's entire day. True. Remember that you may be the first person the student sees in the morning and the last person they see in the afternoon. Thank you for watching this presentation on passenger conduct.